introduction to how to complete the form for school exchange partnerships video. In this video, we will look at which activities and budget categories you can apply for, and then go through the different sections in the form you will need to complete. You can now see on the screen the list of activities that you can carry out as part of your school exchange partnership project. So you can see you can do either short or long-term mobility of pupils and short and long-term mobility of staff. You can also see that they'll have a minimum and maximum duration that you will need to meet. Please note that travel days will not count towards this minimum and maximum durations. You can now see on the screen a number of budget categories. The first one is project management and implementation. This category is automatically calculated by the form, as all organizations within the partnership will receive this type of funding. Funding is calculated based on the duration of the project. You can now see on the screen as well exceptional cost. You will need to provide a figure that estimates how much funding you will need to subcontract if you need to subcontract services or purchase goods or materials that are vital for the project delivery, and also that the partnership would be unable to provide. You will need to provide full and detailed justification as to why these costs are necessary. For special needs support funding, you will also need to provide full justification and detail of how this funding will be used, as it is also based on an estimate that you will provide. This funding might be awarded if you require to hire equipment, for example, in order to make the mobility activities accessible for everyone. Exceptional cost for expensive travel is a category that you can apply for under learning, teaching, and training activities, and is for those organizations that are based in remote areas and might need additional funding than the one that is usually provided using the distance band calculator. Learning, teaching, and training activities will be the main part of your budget and are divided into 3 different categories. So you can apply for travel, individual support, which is subsistence cost, and linguistic support in the case of long-term mobilities. This funding is calculated based on the distance that you will travel, as well as based on the amount of participants that will be traveling. We are now going to look at the form, the key action to schools exchange partnership form. Please check on the right-hand corner of your screen that you are applying for schools exchange partnership if this is the type of project you wish to complete. As you can see on my screen now, there's a number of fields that have a green bar to the left. That means that the information that was required and it was mandatory to complete has been completed. If, however, I remove this information, the field would show red, and it would tell me that the field is mandatory. Please note that all projects must start date must be between the 1st of September 2019 and the 31st of December 2019. Most projects will have a maximum duration of 24 months and a minimum duration of 12 months. However, if you intend to apply for long-term mobility of pupils, your project might last up to 36 months. As you will be applying for the to the UK National Agency, please ensure that you're applying to UK01 and that your form is completed in English. The form will be saved automatically every 2 seconds as long as you are connected to the internet. When looking at participating organizations, you will need to ensure that yourself and all other organizations involved have a PEG number. You will need to register this if your school or organization hasn't done so already through the participant portal. As you can see, not all the fields in my organization have been completed, so I would need to click on these 3 lines, organization details, then go through different fields to choose the relevant information if it's a drop-down menu, or to enter any necessary information for the different questions and categories. In regards to the associated persons, please note that the legal representative will be the person in the school that has the authority to sign legal documents. So, for example, in a lot of cases, it's the head teacher. And the contact person will be the person that we will be in touch with to discuss the project outcome or any questions we might have. So we should be able to contact them. This is regardless, please bear in mind, of school holidays. So please provide an email address that you will be using throughout the year and not only during term time. You will then need to provide information about your school. So, for example, if your school has an eTwinning school label, if you say yes, in some of the categories, new questions will appear. So, for example, in this case, has your project taken part in a European Union granted project in the last 3 years? If you say yes, you will be asked to provide the information about that project. If you say no, however, the information will disappear permanently. So please be careful when entering or deleting information. You will then need to do the same for your partner schools. If you have more than one partner, you will need to click on Add Partner, and then you will need to enter the PIC number. Please note that if you're copying and pasting the information, there might appear a space at the end that will show as an error. So please check that there are no spaces. Please check that there are no spaces, because otherwise it will show as invalid, like this. If I delete the space, however, it becomes valid, but as I've put the same partner twice, we'll go through the 3 lines and click Delete Organization. And as I said, you will then need to go through the same questions for all your partners. Once you have completed that section, you will need to move to the project description. The first question you will be asked is which horizontal or sectoral priority do you intend to address. This can be found in the 2019 program guide, and all Key Action 2 projects, including a school exchange partnership, will need to address at least one priority. So in this case, for example, I have chosen school education. By have chosen an horizontal one, and then you can add another 2 if you believe your project will address any more than the one you've suggested. You will, when you add additional priorities, all different fields will appear. So please ensure that you are selecting the relevant field. You will then need to select up to 3 topics that your project might address. And as you can see, there's a long list of possible objectives. You just need to select 3 or up to 3. And then you will be asked to answer a number of questions. Some of them are compulsory, and some of them are not compulsory, but you might wish to enter the information if it's applicable. Again, this is one of the questions that if you say yes, more information will appear. If you say no, however, this information will go away. So you will just need to enter any relevant categories and any relevant information in this section. In regards to management, you will see that project management and implementation funds will be calculated automatically, and you will then be asked a number of questions that you will need to answer. You can see at the bottom of each box the maximum amount of characters you can have. This includes spaces, so please be mindful when completing your application form, especially if you're preparing the text sections offline. You will then need to go to learning, teaching and training activities. We would expect this type of projects, school exchange partnerships, to all have learning, teaching and training activities because they are the main part of the project. So you will be able to choose yes or no. Most projects we would expect to see a yes. And then you will be asked a number of questions and you will be asked to enter activities. So as you can see, I've already created one. I'm going to create another just so you can see how it works. So I would click Add, Details, Activity Type. I'm going to choose a short-term exchange of pupils. Give it a title and decide who is going to host this activity. So in this case, I'm going to choose the French school to host, and the UK school is going to go to France. You would then select which month you intend to go. So let's say, for example, January 2021, and how many days my activity is going to last. So this type of activity would have a minimum of 3 days, 3 working days. So I am going to say 3 days, and the country of venue will be France. I would then answer the questions that are outlined there. I will say that I would carry out work on it as well and answer the questions. And then I would request funding. So when this appears, you would click on Details. Sending organization will be the UK school. This is going to France. Number of participants, so it's going to be 10 pupils and three teachers. Teachers would be the accompanying persons. Participants would be the pupils in this case. And then I am going to check that the information provided for individual support, which is subsistence costs, is correct. So we have 10 children, 3 days, 3 teachers, but we haven't requested any funding for accompanying persons. So as they are going to travel with the children, we are going to request funding for the teachers as well. Now, if you think you might need to travel the day before the activities with the other school start or the day after they finish, you can add up to 2 days to the individual support section. So you have the chance to request funds for food and accommodation and subsistence costs the day before and after the activity is taking place. And then for travel, you would use the distance band calculator and choose the applicable distance band, which in this case would be 500 to 1,999 kilometers. And it would calculate how much funding is given in total as well as per participant. If you are based or the school you're visiting is based in a remote area, you might want to request exceptional cost for expensive travel instead of the normal distance travel band. You would need to provide the number of participants. So in this case, it would be 13, including the teachers. Why you need this type of funding rather than the normal distance band, and how much money you would need. You can find more information about exceptional costs for expensive travel in the 2019 program guide as well as in our written guidance. Once you have completed this information, you would go back to the activity details by clicking on this top bar and double check that all the information provided is correct. If you had to add funding for that mobility for another party, you would click on Add. Again, click on Details. Send an organization. In this case, we only have 2 partners, so it wouldn't be anyone else. However, if you chose the school that is hosting the activity, you will get a warning message saying that you have requested funds for the hosting organization, and that's not possible. So please ensure that you're always requesting funding for those that are traveling to the hosting organization, not for those hosting the activity. As we do not want to have that anymore, we would go to the 3 lines and then delete. Again, anything you delete is permanently deleted, so please be careful. Once this has been deleted, I go back to learning, teaching, and training activities, and as you can see, all the information I've provided now is green, is completed, so I can move on to the next section, which is my timetable. So you can see both learning, teaching, and training activities that I had entered are showing there. I have also entered another event or task that is happening as part of the project. In this case, it would be a school assembly. You can add this type of activity by clicking add and enter any relevant information and the month when it might take place. Please enter all relevant activities that you think might be beneficial for our external experts to know about. In special costs, you can apply for special needs support. So you would add a line, choose the school, the number of participants that might require this type of funding, and the description and justification for it. Once you've done that, you should complete the estimate of how much money you might need for to support these participants taking part in the activity to make it accessible for them. If you add a line by mistake, again, you need to click on the 3 lines and then click on delete and confirm you want to delete it. For exceptional cost, you would need to choose the organization again, provide a description of the goods and services you need to subcontract or purchase, and an estimate of how much funding you may need. If you need to add exceptional costs for different schools, again, you would click add and choose the relevant school and follow the same steps. You would then move to follow up, where you will need to describe how you will ensure that your project is sustainable through the future, and that you're assessing the success of your project. And once you've completed all those 3 fields, you would move to project budget summary. Please check carefully that all the information here. Check that you have requested funding for your school as well as that of your partners, because you will need to apply for everyone in the partnership, not just yourself. And just make sure that the budget is what you need and what you're claiming for. So carefully check the travel grant, or if instead you have requested exceptional costs for expensive travel, you can check that there. Check that you have individual support subsistence, which is subsistence cost. And if you have long-term mobility of pupils, you might have applied for linguistic support in order to prepare for this mobility. You will then need to check the total that each school would get. And if you're happy with that information, you would go to project summary. If you're not happy with that information, you would need to move back to different tabs and adjust any information that might not be accurate or might not be what you intended to apply for. You would then, when you move to project summary, provide a project summary, as its own names obviously indicate. You have some indications on the text, so please ensure that you read carefully all the questions and all the text, because they will give you an indication of what's expected in each section. And once you've completed this summary, you would then move on to the annexes. This section is really important that you download the Declaration of Honor. There we go, which will show there. Your head teacher should read carefully through this document, and once they are happy with it, they're happy with the application you're putting forward, they will need to complete these fields and sign. In the place field, they will need to write either the name of the city or town where your school's based, where this document's been signed. So for example, in this case, it would be Cardiff, they would write. Then they will need to write the date, and then any of these as applicable. The UK National Agency doesn't require as compulsory a national ID number. So if you have it, feel free to add it, but if not, don't worry about it. And in the case of stamps, if your school does not have a stamp, please just write not applicable. Signatures must be original at the point of signing and then scanned. We cannot accept electronic signatures, so please bear in mind you will need to print this document, get it completed and signed by hand, and then scanned and uploaded onto your application by clicking the Add Declaration of Honor button. If you need to attach any other files or documents, you could do so by clicking the Add File button. And once you have completed the Declaration of Honor form, you will need to go to Checklist, go through the different items, make sure you're happy with them. And as you're happy with them, you can tick or untick as necessary. Continue reading, and then at the bottom, click that you agree with specific privacy statement and data protection, if you agree. Once you have done all this, if you have uploaded your Declaration of Honor, which as you can see I haven't done, and you've entered all the information for all the different organizations, which as you can see by this red symbol, they're showing both in the left-hand side and on the screen, I haven't done, the Submit button will appear. You will need to click Submit before 11 a.m. on the 21st of March 2019. And you will get a little message saying that you have submitted your application form. Before submitting, we would strongly recommend that you download a PDF version of your application form just by clicking on this PDF button that I've just clicked. And this is my PDF version of the application form. And we strongly recommend that you keep that PDF for your records, but also to double check what's showing on the PDF and the information you have provided on the application form match and you're happy with it before clicking submit. But yeah, always keep a PDF copy for your own records. If you wanted to share at any point your application with your partners, you can click share and then share application. You can choose read only or read and write if you want them to edit. And you will need to select the contact person for one of the organizations or any other persons you may add. And then you would click share. So this is how you complete your application form. Please let us know if you have any questions, and best of luck with your application.